Every single supply order in my clinic used to come through me, from IV tubing to saline bags, syringes of every size. You can imagine Band-Aid, gauze, alcohol swabs, disinfecting supplies, paper towels, soap, pens, and highlighters. All of it landed on my desk. And I want you to hear me say this with full self-awareness. I thought that was normal. Maybe you're nodding your head right now because your inbox looks exactly like that. Every request, every reorder, every hey, we're running low on this lands on you. If that's where you are, stay with me today because I'm going to tell you about a day my clinic, my team stopped asking permission, and it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened in the clinic. Well, one of the best things. Let's debunk the myth. Here's something most of us believe without ever saying it out loud. A good employee asks before they act. I believed that for years. Every time someone checked with me first, I took it as compliment, respect, good training, a team that knew their place. So I built a whole system around asking. Write it on a list, bring it to me, wait, and then I want to tell you that worked. But it actually didn't. It just moved slow enough that I never noticed how slow it was. It wasn't until that invoice showed up on my desk, the one I never approved, that it actually hit me. All those years of people checking with me first, that wasn't them respecting me. That was them telling me in the only way they knew how, I don't have enough to do this without you. I just never heard it that way. I heard asking and thought, good employee. I never once thought there was a gap. A quiet, obedient team isn't a well-run team. I know, because I ran one for years and I called it leadership. It's an underinformed one. And the silence isn't loyalty. It's just everybody waiting on you the same way I used to wait on myself to figure out everything alone. The day that invoice landed without my signature on it, that was not disrespect. That was the first day they actually had enough to work with. So I'm going to share with you the playbook framework. Step 1, give them the information, not just the task. In my clinic, a comprehensive rheumatology practice, the only one of its kind in the entire Hawaiian island chain. We run an in-house lab, x-ray, bone density, infusion, a medically integrated dispensary, and a satellite clinic on Kauai and in Hilo. We used a lot of supplies, and for years, every single order routed through me. I knew every vendor, I knew what we ordered from whom. I held all of that in my head, like some kind of medical supply encyclopedia. I didn't do that because I was a control freak. Okay, a little bit of control freak. Mostly I did it because I cared, because I wanted it done right, and because I genuinely believed no one else had the full picture. So the first real shift wasn't a system. It was just giving my team the same picture I had. The vendors, the products, reorder points. Information they'd never had access to before because I'd always just handle it. Here's step 2. Let them leap past the system you built. Because one day I got an invoice from one of the vendors and I looked at it and thought, wait, who approved this? I'm not going to lie to you. My stomach dropped. Like, I didn't place this order. Who placed the order and who approved the order? I pulled up the previous invoice and compared it line by line with the new one, and everything checked out. Nothing unusual, nothing out of budget. And I exhaled and said quietly under my breath, wow, thank you, God. Because here's what had happened. One of the nurses, the end users, the people actually using these supplies every single day, had taken the vendor information I gave them, figured out how to place the order themselves, and handled it. They didn't wait for me to do it. They saw what needed to happen and they made it happen. They leaped right past the system and landed somewhere so much better. Here's step 3. Close the gap, not the distance. Here's the lesson inside that story, the one I wish someone had told me 20 years ago. That list system I built, I thought it was genius. I thought I had invented delegation. I had not invented delegation. I had invented a to-do list with extra steps. Same exact gap. I just gave it a clipboard. The information lived with them, but guess who still made the call? Me. Every single time. I was basically running a very efficient suggestion box that only I was allowed to open. So here's what actually closes the gap. And it's not a clipboard, and it's definitely not a personality trait you're either born with or you're not. It's volume, information volume. You hand over everything you know, the vendors, the reorder points, and here's why we order from this guy and not the other guy who's $12 cheaper but ships like he's mad at us. And suddenly the gap that was making them ask isn't there to ask about anymore. Who knows better than your nurses which needle or gauze actually works? And who knows better than your front desk which pen survives a full day of shift without dying mid-sentence? Not me. Never was me. I thought it was me because I was the one with the spreadsheet. That invoice landing on my desk without my approval wasn't somebody going rogue. It was somebody finally having enough information to not need me. Which of you think about is the nicest thing everybody's ever accidentally done to me? And it kept going. It went so far that now if someone needs a pen, they're at the store and they buy it with their own money. And then when I see them with a nice pen, of course I want to try it out. And when I offer to pay them back to reimburse them for the pen, they look at me and say, no, it's my pen. I bought it with my own money and I can take it home if I wanted to. That's so funny to me. No MBA teaches you that. There's no chapter on eventually your staff will refuse your money over office supplies. None. But there should be, because it might be the proudest moment of my entire career that it involved a 49-cent Bic pen. So do this tomorrow. This is your move. So here's your one move for tomorrow, okay? Just one. Pick a single recurring decision that always lands on your desk. A reorder, a scheduling call, a small judgment call your team brings to you out of habit, not out of necessity. Find the person closest to the work and hand them the actual information behind it. Not a vague, use your judgment. The real picture, the vendor, the budget range, and why behind the rule. Then tell them one sentence. If you see it needs to happen, make the call. I trust you. That's it. One decision, one person, one sentence. Because if they mess up, you can fix it. Let them fix it. Okay? And now, when they make the call without asking you first, and they will, don't go looking for what went wrong. Walk over face to face and tell them you noticed. That's the part I don't want you to skip. When I found out that my team, what they had done, they didn't send a text. I did not send a text or shoot off an email. I walked over to the nurse's station, looked at them in the eye, and said, I got the invoice. I was genuinely surprised, and I'm so proud of you for taking initiative. Keep it up. Text says, good job. A walk says, you matter. So don't underestimate the power of showing up in person, okay? Walk over and tell them face to face, thank you. So here's what I want you to take with you today. If everything is still routing through you, start small. Share the information, give them the context, then give them the chance to leap past your system. And when they do, don't feel threatened. Be proud, because that's not a loss of control. That's the whole point. The people closest to the work should be making the decision about the work. Your job isn't to hold the pen. Your job is to trust the people who are going to use it. If this hit home, send me a DM and tell me which one decision you're handing off this week. I want to hear all about it. Until next time, my friends, stand and deliver on trust. Aloha!